Welcome to our channel, Demonic Domestics. I'm Jill, and this is Elias. We went on a 2-day spooky Halloween tour in Los Angeles. We started with Knott's Berry Farm, and then we did Universal's Halloween Horror Nights on day 2, and that's what we're going to talk to you guys about today. We're going to do kind of like a cost breakdown, and then we'll let you guys know if we think what we spent on the trip was worth it.
So the Universal trip started when we were talking about our potential trip down. The cost for our Universal trip per person was $349. We ended up getting their RIP tour tickets.
Mm-hmm.
We've
been to Universal before. I think that should be noticed. We'd been to Halloween Horror Nights before, so we felt like we wanted to splurge on the RIP tour this time.
Especially since it is quite the trip for us, and we wanted to make the best of our time when we got there. So in total for this trip, we paid $698. There's no processing fee, there's no tax, just
That's it.
$698, which we enjoyed. Including in that package, you're going to get things like valet parking, a 4 to 5-ish hour tour guide who will take you throughout the park. You get front of the line access and early access.
All night. To everything. To all the houses, to the rides that are still open, to bars, all kinds of stuff.
It's pretty sweet. You also get a dinner buffet. They let you eat for about an hour at one of the lounges that you stay at. And I say one of the lounges because there are quite a few lounges where you're able to stop off and get coffee and water or whatever you
Yeah,
need.
once you get through the buffet, you get to go back to the lounge later just for little things like snacks, cookies, drinks, and things like that.
You also get priority seating to the Jabberwockies show as well if you like to sit there, and it's front and center. It's actually pretty great. And then when you get there, you also get, when you start your tour, you get your own terror tram. You and one other group are going to be together on your own. You don't get in a big bus. And you also get special little details for those trips too, which is great.
At the beginning of our trip, we went and did the valet, which was super easy. They have like a specific area, a lot of signs showing you where the valet is. They take the car, take your keys, and they say, get back by 3 a.m. and we were good to go.
Yeah. So once you hand over your keys and get your ticket, we weren't sure how far we'd have to walk. You actually walk directly out into City Walk, right in front of the movie theater.
Yeah, you pop out in the middle of City Walk, which was great. We got there super early because we didn't know how this was going to work, and we didn't want to end up being late. So we went to Margaritaville
and got a couple beverages
had a couple of bevs. And then we walked over to the park entrance to figure out where VIP was. That was really easy. They had their own line. Everyone was super nice, and they guided us where we needed to go. We all had different time slots for our tours, but we were allowed in the VIP lounge to hang out.
Yeah, so they do want you to be in the VIP lounge about half an hour beforehand, and they don't have a lot of people, so they say you have early access to the park, which is kind of true. You do get access to the park. You're able to walk around, do some shopping, get a couple snacks here and there, but they do close the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. You could go down to the back lot.
Most of the rides and like the areas where the houses are going to be get shut down because they're trying to funnel guests out and then guests in. So your early access is more, I'd say, for like food and like if you want to get souvenirs beforehand so you're not rushing around, I would do that. But yeah, I didn't know. I haven't been to Harry Potter World yet, and so I was trying to get in there, and they wouldn't let me in because they had like a special event in there, which was fine.
So to round out the time that we had available, since our tour started at 7, we were in the park by around 5:30 or so. We decided that we'd rather just wait in the lounge, and we were able to watch the crowds leaving because you're on a second level, and you have a balcony seating if you'd like, which we indulged in. And we watched the people leave, and we were able to kind of plan out our life.
We got to see the mass exodus before Halloween.
It was pretty cool. So when our tour did start, we had a lovely tour guide. Patrick, you stumbled upon this. The tour guides for this are great. They're so knowledgeable, and they're really good about bringing the crowd together and amping you up for the night ahead. And then
they keep the energy up all night.
Oh yeah, and once they get that energy up, they started our tour. Patrick took us to our destination of where our buffet was and walked us through the park, and we were able to stay together and see some of it, and he's hyping you up for what's to come.
We got to the buffet, which was right by the
La Llorona.
Yeah, like the Day of the Dead, like there's a Day of the Dead scare zone, which we got to kind of walk through and see. It was beautiful. And then before you get into your buffet, they have like a little photo op, so they take your picture with your phone. They don't make you pay for pictures, which was really nice. And then we went into the buffet, which was so good.
Yeah. So as you said, they don't take their pictures with their own cameras. They allow you to use your phone. They should also be noted. They also were allowing me to record everything. We don't record the inside of houses on this channel just because we prefer people to enjoy the house on their own, and we don't want to give anything away because that's how we enjoy the parks. There are plenty of other channels that you can find on YouTube that will have those available, but you won't find that here. But back to what we were saying.
So yeah, we went to the buffet. They have quite the spread, and it is really like amazing quality food. You can tell the chefs know what they're doing. I actually talked to our tour guide Patrick a little bit about it, and he said that even the people that work at Universal aren't allowed to eat at the buffet. It's only for the VIPs. And that when he ate there, he said it was like, oh, it's the best food in the park. It's amazing, and only VIP gets it. So you will only get that food if you get VIP.
I thought he was being a little like very over the top about it. Yeah, but he was right. The food is very fresh. It was hot. It was good.
They have salad, charcuterie. They have like a whole section with like poke and
they had
logs.
pasta. The normally fish can be a little bit old. You can taste it gets that fishy flavor.
Especially
this
on a buffet.
was not. It was so fresh.
And they were like constantly taking out fresh food before the food even ran out. I'm pretty sure they had like a timer, and they were like, oh, the food's been out for 30 minutes. We need to like switch a fresh one out there. Everything was fresh and delicious. 10 out of 10.
It was perfect, and it was a good option.
Back from. I usually don't go back to buffets. I went back to get more food.
We did, and we both shared some of the desserts that were also small portions, so you're able to eat quite a number of different ones. And then throughout the night, those desserts are available for you.
Yeah.
So you can walk in and just pop one in and keep going.
Fresh chocolate chip cookies on a warmer plate, so they're gooey and delicious, and you can like have a coffee, or you can go to the bar and tell the bartender that you want an Irish coffee.
The bar is a cash bar, and they do have pretty limited options. They don't have a full bar stocked, but you can ask for special requests.
They'll get creative for you.
Yeah, so they do have a coffee area where you can get black coffee, decaf, or tea. I got a coffee, and I had them add a little extra to it at the cash bar, and it was nice. But they also, around the corner from that, they have sodas, they have free water. I should specify.
All night. You do not have to pay for, I don't even know, $6 water.
Patrick, our tour guide, set through the whole night, water's available. So in our tram, there was an ice chest. In all of the lounges, there's water bottles to go. Everywhere you went, he would have something available.
It was like
Universal
having a mom with you all night going, did you hydrate? Are you drinking water? Which is great because you forget to drink water, and then you're like, why do I have a headache all of a sudden?
We easily had 3 or 4 waters throughout the night. And I was like, that alone could cost about $20 to $30. But we could have just kept chugging waters and sodas all night.
And then, so after you get done, you get about an hour to eat, and then you meet back up with your tour guide, and then you take like a very short walk to where your tram is going to pick you up, and you get like a small like private bus. You share it with one tour group, and you start your night with the Terror Tram. And this year it was themed after, what was the clown's name?
So Koodles the Clown.
Koodles the Clown
is the main guy for this one, and
he's
he was
like
a
a
favorite.
wronged actor clown that is like taking his revenge. He's having like a giant Halloween party at the Bates Motel. It was super fun. Really like fun idea. It wasn't necessarily scary. It was kind of like going to like a vintage Halloween party.
Yeah, it definitely, there was comedic moments to it, and there was a lot of people that did get scared. There are scare actors going through it and messing with people. They had a whole chainsaw section. It was fun.
Yeah, if you're afraid of clowns, it'll be scary.
It'll be very unnerving at the very least.
And then when you go through that tour, I mean, most people that have been to Halloween Horror Nights know that there's a photo op with Norman Bates. I've never done it because the line is always crazy long. With VIP, they walk you right to the front. You take your picture with Norman, and then you continue on your trip. So I finally got to get a picture with Norman this year.
And he'll interact with you a little bit too, which is cool.
Very sweet boy.
And then after that, you're able to get brought over to the Jupes Claim set that they brought down then put back up.
Yeah,
it's the actual set.
That is the actual set from Jordan Peele's Nope. They combined Nope with Us for the Scare Zone this year. Really fun.
It was really good. The scare actors were all very fun and they're very intense.
The Us scare actors are terrifying.
And it should be noted, with the RIP tickets, being an RIP member, you do get a special scene with more scare actors.
They take you aside. They take you into a separate area. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but you get a whole extra part of the tour that nobody else gets.
And it's a small thing, but when you know they're limited, it feels so good to do.
Yeah. And it's an interactive thing, and a lot of times the scare actors can't interact with you at Universal, so that was really fun.
It was at this point that our tour met back at our tram, and we were able to hydrate on the ride to our first haunted house.
Yeah.
Our first house being Scarecrow the Reaping.
This house was my favorite house
It was
of the night.
Stellar.
It was
Absolutely
amazing.
stellar.
So Scarecrow the Reaping is a house that they brought from the Orlando park. It's a original house. It's pretty much like these evil scarecrows that are like taking back the land from the farmers. They're killing farmers.
The earth has gone bad. So think Pet Cemetery, but the scarecrows come to life and they are taking out the farmers, the scare actors. Haunting and scary, and then the boo holes or the scare ports, they're all so well hidden.
Yeah, this was one of the mazes where I realized that they really upped their scares this year. They like triple whammy you. There was a couple of times where I was scared from like every direction within seconds of each other, and that doesn't usually happen because you can usually tell when the scares are coming, but they nailed it, and the sets were amazing. They did this effect where you walk through like a bird like aviary and you get
pooped on
by birds, and the girls behind us were freaking out. It feels like you're just being crapped on by birds.
But that house, I was like, the concept and the look, out of the park. The scares were great. I normally don't get scared in these houses. They got me a couple of times, so I'd say that that's a lot. And not only do I think this house is repeatable, we went again.
We did.
We had to. It was so good.
Yeah.
So 5 out of 5.
Yeah, 5 out of 5 overall. Make sure you go through that one. And then after that, we walked over to the Halloween maze, and this is the original Halloween. So if you are a fan of the classics, definitely go through this. I personally feel like Halloween is a little overdone and that character's a little overdone. It was a really fun house to go through, but it was less of like a haunted house to me and more like a tribute. It was like a tribute to Halloween.
That makes sense. I had very similar feelings to this house. It was fine. It was a walk down memory lane. I didn't get scared by anything.
It's cool to see like the scenes recreated. The actors were all really good. One of the actors that was supposed to be, what's that actress's name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah, one of the actresses that was supposed to be Jamie Lee Curtis sounded and looked exactly like Jamie Lee Curtis, which was really fun. I would give it like a 3 out of 5 as far as like, was it scary?
I didn't think it was scary.
Like conceptually, that you don't really have to do a lot. You're in houses. Like,
I don't think that the concept wasn't original. It was obviously based on a movie. It was okay. The scares weren't really there for me. It's Michael Myers, so he would just walk or stand menacingly. I didn't think it was repeatable at all.
Yeah. But so if you're a fan of Michael Myers and you love the movies, you will love it.
It's great. For sure. It's a great tribute.
And our tour guide, Patrick, before he walked us through, they are promoting like the newest Halloween movie, which is supposed to be the final Halloween movie, and he said that they wanted to bring the maze back to give people kind of like a refresh on what the story is. So it is supposed to be kind of like a cliff notes of what Halloween is.
Back to Patrick for a moment. He amps up every house, or I'm sure all of the tour guides do.
Yeah.
They amp up every house and they give you the backstory of the house, which
before every single house.
Which I think is important, because some of the houses, sometimes you don't really get the story. You just kind of walk through and you have to make it up yourself. But if they tell you, or they give you the idea of it, beautiful.
Yeah, and you pick up more details that way.
You do. But so he did a good job promoting the house. It wasn't for me. I'd give it probably a 2.5 or a 3.
It was still fun to walk through, but yeah, like
it was a good house, but it wasn't my cup of tea. I was like, I've seen the movies. I think that they're a little bit overdone and they're not my favorite. But and that's coming from somebody, I do love classics, but that's just not my classic.
Yeah. After that, we took our tram. Didn't we take our tram?
Yeah, from that
we
one.
Did. After that, we took our tram to Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which that has always been one of our favorites. It's one of our favorite.
That is a cult classic movie that I have always been in love with. It's silly. It's kind of scary. It's what I would define as spoopy.
We've been through the maze before, 2 years ago when they did it.
No real changes.
Yeah, no, there wasn't any like different rooms or different houses or different effects, but it was really fun. You can tell that the scare actors in there are having a blast. There was a scare actor in there that actually remembered us when we went back, that like interacted with us, which was fun. Really good. Lots of good smells.
Oh,
Popcorn,
yes.
cotton candy. You will get squirted with water. I got squirted right in the face
Multiple
with water.
Yeah.
But overall, super fun. I would give that 5 out of 5 for fun.
I think, yeah, for fun, I would
For
give it a
fun.
5 out of 5. But
Scare-wise,
if
it's
we
like
stay,
a 1 out of 5.
if we stay on board with how we're judging these, concept and look, the concept of Killer Clowns is original, but I was like, but it's been such a long-standing one that it's not really a concept, but the look is
If
great.
you're tired of clowns, which sometimes I get tired of the scary clowns, it's really like a refreshing take on scary clowns because it's more like a fun take.
But this has been something that's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
So scares, there's actually some pretty good scares where they make everything very dark and it's very bright. And
the
then
people around us were getting scared a lot.
So I would say the scares were there. I was like, I'm still having fun, and repeatability. It's so repeatable.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It's like a party. You're like going through. And...
The music. There's good music. There's good smells. It's just a great house.
Yeah.
So in my heart, I give it a 5 out of 5. But if it's not really your thing, and you're not really,
if you don't know what it is,
it's probably a 3 or 4.
It's probably a 3.
Yeah. So, but in my heart of hearts, I want to give it a 5. But yeah, it was an excellent house. After that, we were able to walk around a corner. We have, since you're RIP, a lot of these houses let out, and then you get your own special lane. And we went straight to the Weekend After Hours Nightmare,
which I was so pumped for. I love The Weeknd. I love his music. I wasn't actually expecting it to be very scary. I was just expecting it to be like a fun maze, and it was scary. He did a good job.
I was very hesitant, but excited to see it. And everything I wanted that house to be was there. It was so fun. It was all bangers. The music, it's his music the whole way through.
Yeah, you get fun, like all of his songs, but then they'll like twist into like new songs, so that was really cool. All of his concepts, like almost every room was a different concept, which was really cool and like refreshing. It's not like the same house the entire way through. I think it's his whole concept was that he wanted to take all of his music videos and like turn them into horror movies. And so like the first room you walk into is like him strapped to a chair with like all his music videos playing behind him. It was very well done, very well executed.
It felt like it was going to end at several points, but
that was the longest house.
It just kept going. And it just kept getting more and more and more until you're finally able to leave his After Hours Nightmare. The concept and look, amazing. Absolutely great.
So fun. It was different than any of the other mazes. So it was kind of like a little refreshing, like, ooh, we haven't done something like this before.
The scares were really good.
Really good. The scare actors were great. There was a lot of these, like, botched plastic surgery nurses running around, and they got me a couple of times.
They have a lot of people in masks, too, in rooms of mannequins, so you never really know where they're coming from unless you're actively looking. But the scares were great. As you probably picked up, we repeated this house.
We did. We went through it again.
So good. We had to see it again. Yeah. And then it's everything about this house. I was like 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
It was a great house.
Yeah.
Mr. End, it was great.
It was great.
It was great.
You should be called the 3-day weekend.
The 3-day weekend. So after this house, we were able to.
We walked over to Legends Collide, which is all of the classic Universal monsters. It's kind of tucked away on the other side of the escalator, so hopefully you don't miss it. Luckily, they have giant signs everywhere, so hopefully you'll be able to find it. This one I was super hyped for. I loved the Wolfman versus Frankenstein.
Yeah, several years back they had Wolfman versus Frankenstein, and it was such a great house.
It was beautiful. If you're a fan of the black and white classic horror movies, very well done. The sets are amazing. There's a scene where you're walking through like a shipyard full of like boxes and luggage and things like that.
You're going through warehouses.
Yeah.
It was good. The monsters, they pop out. There's a lot of scare actors in this one that pop out.
I feel like visually it was amazing. The concept to me is kind of weird. I mean, we got the lay down like before with our tour guide where he was like, oh, the Wolfman and the Mummy and Dracula are all fighting over this amulet to like cure their curse. If we went through without that, I would have had no idea.
Even knowing that for me was still an issue because each scene had a monster in it and they didn't really portray what they were doing. They were just there. For me, I felt like unless I was searching for the story, I would repeat that house. I thought the concept, it's monsters that I love, but it felt a little shoehorned for me. The scares were pretty good. They had a lot of scare actors, but for me, I gave this one probably like a 3.
I feel like that maze was supposed to be fan service. It was supposed to be like, if you're a fan of the classics, here's all of your favorites and all that stuff. I had fun just seeing the characters, but yeah, as far as the house goes, I would give it like a 3.
Yeah, it was.
It was just we kind of came out of it like that was fun, like.
And then it was forgettable for
Yeah.
me. It was pretty forgettable.
But yeah, so we left that one. We headed over to. First off, this is the first time that we had to walk longer than just to our tram. The tram drops you off, you do those 3 houses, and then you take the escalators all the way up. If you've been to Universal, you know that the park is separated by like a top area, and then there's like 3 or 4 crazy escalators that go down to the lower lot. This is a working movie lot, so it's not really set up to be super convenient. That was the longest walk that we took as a tour, was up the escalators. So
but the whole time our tour guide was very interactive with everybody, made sure all of us were together, and then that we were all okay. But that did take us the longest, and then that's when we were able to do one of the next new houses originals, the Horror Hotel.
Yeah, Horror Hotel, that was it's like 1920s, 30s, right? It's like a 1920s...
It's the golden age of Hollywood.
Golden age of Hollywood. It's supposed to be, I think, a throwback to H. Holmes. But it's a guy that opens a hotel. People are checking in, but they're not checking out. You find out that he's part of a cult, and they're like sacrificing people, which I thought that was a fun twist.
I thought it was a fun.
They could have just ended it with he's just killing people in the hotel, but they added like the cult aspect to it. The maze was fun. I really appreciate when they do original mazes, but my big thing was the character design was not great. Their serial killer looked like Two-Face from Batman, and I could not get that out of my head.
I made the joke once, and I feel like that kind of ruined it for her, because it was midway through, and we were watching, and he did look pretty scary at first. But then if you're a fan of the animated series, the Two-Face from the animated series and him look very similar, or even if you do Dark Knight.
He just lost his scary factor as soon as
because then you're wondering why Harvey Dent is here.
Yeah.
But the house, overall, the concept was something that's pretty familiar, but it looked great. Some of the animatronics were great. They looked great. They did a lot with the scares, and they were all very different. They had a few recurring ones, but for the most part, they had a lot of different ones. If we had the time, I think I would be interested in doing it again, but knowing that Two-Face was there would definitely put a damper on it.
I think it is a new one, and it is an original for our park. It's not one that they brought from Orlando. I think if they did it again, it would probably be better, because I'm sure they're getting feedback on everything. There were some like truly terrifying animatronics in there. There was a guy behind us, and he like lost it, because there's an animatronic in a bathtub. It's very like shining-y, that was like genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, that sculpting was great.
But yeah, I think if they bring it back next year, it'll probably be better.
I'd say a 4 out of 5 for me on that.
Yeah, I would give it like a 4. And then once it's improved, I'm sure it'll be a 5.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Right after that one, we walked over to the Horrors of Blumhouse.
Oh.
Which was a double feature. It was for Black Phone and for Freaky? Is it called Freaky
or
Freak?
Freaky. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a double feature, Black Phone and Freaky. Our tour guide Patrick told us that we were supposed to be like walking through a video rental and then transported into the movies. I didn't get that when we walked through.
No, we do walk through like a video store, and it has Freaky written on the wall, and then you immediately go into the movie, so that part was lost on us. So overall, I'm not really going to get into a lot of specifications for the house. They're just trying to do highlight scenes from the movies.
Yeah, it was pretty much just like recreations, scene by scene from the movie. There were 2 younger kids on the tour with us, like 12 or 13. They had a blast. But these are like their horror movies, so I get it. If they did a maze over like Scream when we were a kid, I would lose my mind, and my parents probably wouldn't think it was scary. But it was very lackluster as far as scares go, and as far as concept goes, very repetitive. At least with Freaky, you get like different scenes every time. You're in different parts of the high school. I don't know if that concept is super scary. They even had like a funny scene where they show them like switching places, and so I mean that was kind of like a funny but not scary part. Black Phone was not scary at all and was super repetitive. I mean, how do you turn a house into I'm stuck in a basement?
Yeah, it's just the same scare actor over and over with different-ish masks. Overall, for the house, I would say that the concept, I don't want to ever say lazy because I get what they're trying to advertise, but it's not anything new or flashy.
I feel like if they're going to pick Blumhouse properties, they need to pick things that they can do more with. They pretty much just took like 3 or 4 of the scenes from Black Phone that they could use, and then the rest of it was just black rooms with the guy in the mask jumping out at you, so it felt lazy because
it's
there wasn't
the same
a lot to look
thing
at.
Again and again.
Yeah.
They had scare actors. I mean, I was like, none of them scared me. It was just kind of what it was.
And anything, we were like, Ethan Hawke, no.
Ethan Hawke, no. I'm not a naughty boy, but I wouldn't say that was repeatable at all for me.
No, I didn't want to go through it again. It was probably my least favorite house.
Easily mine.
If you like the movies, you'll like it because it'll just be like a fun little
jaunt
through the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would give it like a 2.
I would give it a 2.
Yeah.
I was like, it potentially could be less, but I was like, I know that they're trying the best with what they had.
Yep.
And the characters were doing a very good job selling what they had. So after this house, we immediately went to the La Llorona house.
Which I was looking forward to.
Which I also was looking forward to. I had heard about it. This house, from beginning to end, the concept is based off of Mexican folklore and is a very scary story. The atmosphere and the look of this house, gorgeous.
Yeah, they did a really good job with the sets and
the actors.
And the actors were amazing. The costumes and makeup were amazing. It didn't feel like a whitewashed version. It felt like they were really playing into the culture and they were playing to the people that know the story.
Even though that she can be very terrifying, they even had like sadder, more haunting versions of her. Even though she was being aggressive, that was really cool. And the scare actors were all over, and they would disappear into the sets, and they had
I got scared so hard by that lady in the like pew when when you walk through like a church where they're having like a service and you don't know who the scare actors are and who the mannequins are, and
really good.
I got
even the dark rooms in this house were lit well enough to know exactly what's going on.
Everything is a set. There wasn't a single part of the maze where you felt like, oh, I'm just walking through a black hallway. Everything was a set.
I would easily repeat this. This was a 5 out of 5 for me.
That was a 5 out of 5. The ginormous animatronics of her
scary.
Are worth just going back to see those.
They're stunning. We really had to stop and look at them because they were so well sculpted and so almost lifelike. This was an amazing house.
Definitely hit that one, and that's an original for California. They've done that before. They've used her as a terror tram concept before. I went when they did that, and they have really taken like all the best aspects of that and crammed it into a house, and it is beautiful.
After this, we had more time that we were able to go through Death Eater Alley in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
It should be mentioned that while we're doing all these mazes, Patrick kept checking in on us. He kept like going, are you guys having a good time? Hopefully you don't feel rushed. And we were like, are you kidding me? You're my favorite human, all this stuff. But we mentioned that I had still not been to the Harry Potter area and I really wanted to go. I wanted to ride Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And he mentioned, he was like, oh, well, that ride closes at 11:15. You would have to skip the Jabberwockies, which is totally fine. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's fine. We'll just go do that. We don't need to see the tour, the rest of the tour. And he, without me knowing, basically redid our entire tour so that we could walk through the Harry Potter area, go through the new area with all the Death Eaters, which was amazing.
They have plenty of fog. They're doing great stuff with their lighting. They make really great use of the light and the fog. And any photo you get through this area is gorgeous.
It's amazing.
And then the video you can get through there walking is really great too. And they do so much crowd work. They'll walk up to you when you're taking pictures, or they'll wave you over to walk through the area, and they'll mess with you. They're very good.
It was really fun, and especially if you're a huge Harry Potter nerd, yeah, you'll love the whole entire thing. He took us through that scare zone, and then as soon as we popped out, he said, "Okay, we're all riding Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey." He added that on to the tour for us just because I mentioned that I wanted to go on it. He took us through the back so that we could immediately get on the ride. He held everyone's bags so we didn't have to worry about taking our bag on the ride. We all got to go on it and have a great time. We came off, and then we went to see the Jabberwockies.
So the Jabberwocky show, we get priority seating, which is front and center. It's like the 3 or 4 rows, so you're stacked up with your same time frame kind of people. It was a good show. Overall, it's like they have great use of lasers. Their choreography was brilliant. It wasn't my highlight of the night, but it was still fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And
worth
then
going,
a lot of the like Jabberwockies fans around us were having a blast, which I appreciate. And then they did do some really like inventive things which we hadn't seen before. They brought people up and did interactive parts of the show. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good chance for us to rest and kind of figure out what we were going to do after the tour was done.
Yeah, so after that show, we walked out and we wanted to get a couple butter beers, so we went back to our Harry Potter world. The whole time talking praises of Patrick and how he made our night absolutely stellar.
He was like the genie granting our every wish, everything we wanted.
And almost like we manifested him. Out of the darkness, Patrick emerged. He knew where we would be because he knows people that well.
Yep.
And we had mentioned that we needed ponchos because we wanted to go on the Jurassic Park ride. He brought us ponchos. Out of the kindness of his heart, he was off duty, street clothes, and he just wanted to know how well. Like, he asked if he thought he did a good job. Like, he didn't somewhere know that how great he was.
Yeah.
It was amazing. The service that you get from your tour guides, I cannot speak highly of, enough of. It's so great.
Yeah, no, Patrick was amazing. And yeah, just his like attention to detail. He was very attentive. Yeah, he's our boy.
He's great. So at this point we decided we wanted to go revisit a few houses because after that, this was around 11, or after the show, so probably like close to 11:30, 11:45. We still have until about 2 a.m. So we have all the time in the world to go revisit houses or go to other areas.
And the same access that you have with your tour guide, you have all night on your own.
With that RIP pass.
With your RIP pass. It should be noted, there's the normal pass, so you wait in line for the maze. There's a front of the line pass, just like how Knott's has a front of the line pass.
I would not even call that a front of the line pass. They call it a fast pass, but that just puts you in a secondary line that's more limited and it's more expensive. So you'll get there faster. And then I would say that there's a front of the line pass, which is only the RIP pass.
The RIP people have their own line. You are not just a front of the line, you have your own line. And there was never anyone in that line. We walked on to every other house that we repeated that night.
So with that knowledge, we went back down to the lower lots and we went to the Weekends After Hours Lounge, and we got a couple of cocktails from there. They were both fine. They were good. They were batch made.
Yeah, they were just batch made, like theme park cocktails, but they were all themed to the maze. So I would definitely go through the maze first because then you'll understand what the drinks are themed.
You can celebrate with one of their drinks.
Yeah, we had one of them in the maze. He like licks a toad and everything goes all psychedelic. So one of the drinks was like a drink with this big gummy toad in it. One of the drinks had a syringe, like all of the evil nurses.
It was good.
Yeah, it was.
They were both good drinks. The lounge was pretty small, and it was a nice, quiet place to gather your thoughts and move forward.
And then we redid the weekend maze, which was even better the second time. We redid the Killer Clowns from Outer Space maze just for fun. And then we were like, you know what? I have to do that Scarecrow maze again. And that was when we realized how valuable our tram was. The walk to the Scarecrow maze was a trek.
It's beyond far.
Yeah.
You have to be in the upper lot, go through the Harry Potter zone, and then you are walking a significant different distance to get to that maze and the Halloween maze. So knowing that, the amount of time we saved not having to walk to these houses and not having to make these trips multiple times, it was amazing. It also was amazing on our feet. Our feet were pretty tired at this point.
Yeah, every other time that I've been to Halloween Horror Nights, it takes all night. It takes from entrance till 2 a.m. to go through every house. With your RIP tour, it took us 2 hours to go through every single house. And then you've been through all of them, and then you have the rest of the night to do whatever you want.
Yeah,
It
it was
great.
pretty great. We were able to use those RIP passes in there to also go on the Mummy, which you use that just like a fast pass line. That was the longest wait of the night
Yeah,
because they
it was
treated
maybe
us like fast pass.
20 minutes.
Maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then at this point, we realized we still had spare time, so we were able to get a drink at the lounge, a little coffee. We recorded a few TikToks for fun.
Yeah.
We were able to goof off because we knew we could just get to the front of the line everywhere. And we looked into getting a little bit of merch while we were there.
We wanted to bring some stuff home to my mom who's watching our son, so we went and we looked at some merch. Elias went out and took like some time lapses. We wanted to catch like the front area where like the flames are shooting up and the scare actors are going crazy. And we kind of noticed that they were getting ready to do the chainsaw chase out, so we started kind of heading out and going out the front of the park.
So the other longest walk of the night that we had to do was the walk from the park to the valet, which back to it, the valet parking was in front of the movie theater on City Walk. And when we got there, we just showed them our ticket and they brought our car. I didn't even have enough time to sit down to wait for them
our car.
to get the car to me. For when I got there, I gave them the ticket, walked to the bench, went to sit, and they had already driven up my car.
Yep. So quick and easy. Never had a problem with the valet.
So our ground total for that night was, just for the tickets for RIP, was $698. And the only other thing we bought was merch.
Merch and like a cocktail.
Oh yeah, and a couple cocktails, correct. The breaking it down for valet parking is about $45 a night. The amount of water that we drank and all the drinks that were free, juices, all that.
Easily, probably over $30 because we had like sodas and waters and coffee and...
And then also the buffet. And the food was very good. $3.49 per person is a steal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The amount of time we saved and the amount of energy that we saved from having to walk to certain houses.
The convenience, we were happy all night thanks to Patrick. Patrick kept everyone's energy up. He made sure that we were all comfortable, that we were doing what we wanted to do. Well worth it.
It was more than worth it. I was like, comparatively, we've been to a few other events where the cost might not be what you would want it to. This price point is a great option if you're able to afford it. This is even something, if you're a Halloween person, maybe you might want to save up for throughout the year, just because you will have one very magical night.
Yeah, the next day, all we were talking about was, this is a tradition now.
We will be doing this annually.
We will be doing this every year. We can't wait until our son is old enough to want to go. If I was a kid, that would be like the best experience. And yeah, we cannot say more good things about
the service and Patrick in general.
Yeah.
But those are my thoughts on our evening at Universal. Hopefully this has been helpful for you, and that if you were thinking maybe I should spend the extra, do it. I was like, even if you bought your general admission and with a fast pass, you're not going to get through the park as effectively and as efficiently as we had that night. None of the wait times apply to you. And then if you see the lines and see how many people are leaving, how many people are there, you'll know that this is such a value.
Yeah, we kept looking at the giant wait time screens and just going, holy crap. And one of the mazes got up to like a 2-hour wait while we were there.
And on cue, Patrick would tap us on the shoulder and let us know, those don't apply to you. And then we would walk on to everything. But those are...
I think actually one of the first things that Patrick said to us when we met him was, once you do this, you will never go back. And he's right.
He's right. Well, those are our thoughts. Leave us some comments or questions if you have them. Reach out if you'd like more specified answers. But I'm Elias.
And I'm Jill.
Thanks for joining us here with our value breakdown, and live deliciously.
Bye, guys.
Bye.